This man is Stanislav Petrov. You've probably never heard his name, but on one terrifying night in 1983, he held the fate of the entire world in his hands. This isn't a story about a general or a president. It's about a single officer sitting in a secret bunker who had to make a decision in under 10 minutes that would either save billions of lives or condemn them to a nuclear holocaust. And what he did next was so unbelievable, his own government tried to erase it from history. The year is 1983. The Cold War isn't just cold anymore, it's freezing. The Soviet Union and the United States are staring each other down, their fingers hovering over the launch buttons for thousands of nuclear missiles. Paranoia is at an all-time high. The Soviets had recently shot down a civilian airliner, Korean Airlines Flight 007, killing everyone on board, including a U.S. congressman. Tensions were so thick, you could cut them with a knife. In this climate of absolute terror, NATO decides to run a military exercise called Able Archer 83. It was designed to simulate a nuclear attack escalation, and it was so realistic that many in the Kremlin became convinced it wasn't a drill at all. They believed it was a cover for a real, surprise first strike from the West. Soviet intelligence was on high alert, interpreting every signal, every move, as a potential sign of impending doom. The world was a powder keg, and Able Archer was the spark. Now, let's go deep underground, to a secret bunker near Moscow called Serpukhov 15. This is the nerve center of the Soviet Union's early warning satellite system. And on the night of September 26, 1983, the man in charge is Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov. Petrov wasn't your typical military hardliner. He was a 44-year-old engineer by training, a man of logic and reason, known for being calm under pressure. He understood the technology he was monitoring better than anyone. He wasn't there to fight a war. He was there to prevent one based on faulty data. He thought it would be just another quiet night shift. He was wrong. Just after midnight, the unthinkable happens. A piercing siren shatters the silence of the bunker. Red lights flash across the command console. A massive screen, with a map of the United States on it, lights up. In stark, red letters, a single word blinks: launch. The system is reporting that one single intercontinental ballistic missile has just been launched from a U.S. base and is heading straight for the Soviet Union. The room freezes. Every officer turns to look at Petrov. They are waiting for his order. According to strict military protocol, his job was simple. He had to pick up the direct line to his superiors and report the attack. Once that call was made, the wheels of retaliation would be set in motion. The Soviet premier, Yuri Andropov, would have minutes to decide. But with the confirmation of an incoming missile, his decision would almost certainly be to launch a massive, all-out counterattack. We're talking about hundreds, maybe thousands, of nuclear warheads flying toward the United States and Europe. It would be the end of civilization as we know it. But before Petrov could even process the first alarm, it gets worse. The system screams again. A second missile is detected, then a third, a fourth, and a fifth. The screen now shows 5 nuclear missiles streaking across the sky, their trajectory aimed at the heart of the Soviet Union. The system's confidence level jumped to highest. It looked like a legitimate, albeit small, nuclear strike was underway. The pressure on Petrov is now unimaginable. The sirens are wailing. His subordinates are yelling, demanding he make the call. The world has maybe 15 minutes left, and the decision rests entirely on his shoulders. With the fate of humanity hanging in the balance, Petrov's mind is racing. The electronic maps are flashing. The alarms are deafening, but something feels wrong. His engineering mind kicks in, overriding the panic. He thinks, if the US was going to start a nuclear war, would they really begin with just 5 missiles? A first strike would be massive, overwhelming. Hundreds of missiles launched at once to cripple the enemy's ability to retaliate. 5 missiles. It just didn't make strategic sense. It was a fishy, illogical attack. Was it a computer error? Was he willing to bet the world on it? Every fiber of his training, every line of the protocol manual, screamed at him to report the attack. His superiors were on the other end of the line, waiting. But Petrov had a gut feeling, a deep-seated intuition, that the most advanced warning system in the world was wrong. He looked at all the data points. The ground-based radar showed nothing. The visual confirmation teams couldn't see anything. It was just the satellite. He had to choose, trust the machine, or trust his own human judgment. Petrov made his choice. He picked up the phone to his superiors, his heart pounding in his chest, and reported the unthinkable. He told them the system was malfunctioning. He declared the 5 incoming nuclear missiles a false alarm. He was directly disobeying orders, risking a court-martial and disgrace if he was wrong. If those missiles were real, his decision would have doomed his country. The bunker fell into a tense, suffocating silence. All they could do now was wait. The minutes ticked by like hours. Petrov and his team stared at the screens, waiting for the telltale signs of nuclear detonations that would prove his judgment fatally wrong. 10 minutes, 15, 20, nothing. No explosions. No follow-up radar confirmations. Just silence. The missiles never arrived because they were never there. Stanislav Petrov's gut feeling was right. He had stared into the abyss and refused to blink. So, what actually happened? A later investigation revealed a bizarre and terrifying cosmic coincidence. The Soviet satellite sensors had a critical design flaw. On that particular night, the sun, the satellite, and high-altitude clouds over North Dakota aligned in a very specific way. The satellite mistook the intense reflection of sunlight off the tops of the clouds for the engine flare of multiple missile launches. A simple glitch, a trick of the light, had brought the world to the brink of annihilation. You'd think Petrov would be hailed as a hero, right? The man who saved the world, but that's not what happened. When his superiors investigated, they were furious, not because of the glitch, but because Petrov hadn't followed the protocol. He had exposed the flaws in their multi-billion ruble system and embarrassed the military command. He was interrogated, officially reprimanded for improper paperwork, and was neither rewarded nor punished. His career stalled, and he was eventually reassigned to a less sensitive post before retiring early. His story was classified and buried, a secret kept from the world for over a decade. It wasn't until after the fall of the Soviet Union that his story finally came to light. A German political activist discovered the details and published them in the 1990s. Slowly, the world learned about the quiet lieutenant colonel who, on one fateful night, held our collective destiny in his hands. He began to receive international awards, including the World Citizen Award, and was recognized by the United Nations. But Petrov remained humble, always downplaying his role. He famously said, "I was not a hero. I was just in the right place at the right time." Stanislav Petrov's story is a chilling reminder of how fragile our world is, and how easily it can all be undone by a combination of technology, fear, and human error. But it's also a powerful testament to the importance of human intuition, critical thinking, and the courage to question authority, even when the sirens are screaming. One man's calm logic in a moment of pure chaos likely prevented a global catastrophe. He may not have seen himself as a hero, but history will remember him as the man who, by simply doing his job with profound humanity, saved the world. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories you might have missed in history class. And let me know in the comments, what would you have done in his position? See you in the next one.